The Eagle.
Hello, friends. Welcome. Today is Friday, July 22nd, and you are listening to the Sound Off Radio Show only on 96.7 The Eagle. It's good to have you with us today. With me in the studio today is Sheriff John Boyd. Sheriff Boyd has been the sheriff here of LaPorte County for about almost 8 years, almost your 8-year anniversary, honestly. You are not running, obviously. You are term limited for sheriff in the future, so you are on the final couple months of your administration. How does it feel not to have to run for office right now?
Really good.
Do you miss all of the events?
The political events, no. I still try to get out to as many events as I can, community-related events, but not
like
the political
pancake-type events?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
It depends.
Did you gain weight when you were running for office?
I think it was even because I did so much door-to-door that it kind of evened itself out. And I also learned to pace myself. While I went to sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5, I think a record was 5 pancake breakfasts in one morning. I wouldn't eat at each one. Of course, I'd pay and maybe have a little bit of coffee, but I certainly wouldn't have pancakes at each breakfast that I went to. There's no way you can do that.
Yeah, I've been watching. Don't tell them this. I've been watching Ron Heeg and Andy Heineck, who are the two sheriff candidates, just to see if they get a little pudgier during that.
Andy
election.
could stand to lose a little bit of weight.
Yeah, I mean
he's 137 pounds. 137 and a half pounds with his gun belt on. Just like that episode of Andy Griffith with Barney Fife.
All right. We love you guys both, Ron and Andy.
We do.
So if you have a question for Sheriff John Boyd, you're welcome to call the Liquor Vault on-air line or text us at 219-362-0522. I'm excited to talk to you today. You haven't been in here for a few months, so I've got a lot of questions to catch up on. First, the county agreed to make a slight tax increase. It was about a 0.5% tax increase for LaPorte County residents. And the purpose was to raise more funds for public safety matters. That money can go towards police, fire, EMS, maybe 911, I don't know. And part of that was to include payment for police officers, because the payment here, or the salaries, the wages for police in the county is low, and we've lost a lot of officers that way. I know it's been hard to attract new officers for everyone. I think not just in LaPorte County, for everyone. How much do you think pay has to do with that and fixing the pay there? And how much is just the difficulty of being an officer, the schedule, being on seconds, being on thirds, doing all these kind of things is an issue as well? And how does a new administration look at this and fix this maybe?
The answer to your question is C, both A and B are correct.
Yeah.
It has a lot to do with pay and benefits, but it also has to do with, there are some that are out there that couldn't get law enforcement by defunding us or abolishing us, so they got us by making it so unattractive to do this job, scrutiny all the time, that people do not want to subject themselves to that. And it therefore is difficult. But with that being said, it's not just in law enforcement. It is in every walk of life, every profession, every field of employment. Everyone is screaming. Employers are screaming. They cannot find good qualified applicants. People just don't want to work. It takes a special person to do what we do and subject ourselves to the hazards of what we're subjected to in the scrutiny, the dangers, the whole gamut, but it is very difficult. You and I talked, and Jeff, just prior to coming on air, where we just went through an applicant process in which 2 applicants showed up for our testing, and they both failed. One failed the physical agility testing, one passed the physical agility testing, but the immediate next stage was the written examination, and that individual failed that. So it's difficult to get good.
And that's not even the last test before. That's right. I mean, there's mental, there's emotional, these kind of things.
Background investigation, psychological screening, you name it. We send them through the battery of testing and processes. But it's just difficult. So we're preparing to open up applications once again. We're too short right now.
So take me back 10 to 15, 20 years. You had 2 applicants now. What did you used to have?
On average, we would see anywhere between 30 to 60 applicants during an application process. And we also saw a number of qualified applicants come from other agencies. The sheriff's office was a place that people really were destined to come to. But now we have so many other agencies that are out there that offer such great incentive packages and make it so worth the while for people that have higher education and experience, that they're being paid for that experience, that education that they have. So we're competing with other agencies that we've never competed with before because they have such a better benefit package that we have. When you talk about the lit tax, well, we're really excited that it did pass. That's going to be a game changer for us. We haven't seen the fruits of it yet because they'll start collecting it in October, and it won't actually come to the local units of government until after January 1st. So it's difficult for us to play with money we don't have yet. But that's something in the next couple of months we're going to see.
The government does it all the time. Don't worry, John.
Yeah. Well, we want to do it the right way. And but we also need to make sure that the county council approves an appropriate benefit package, not only for our employees that we have now, or tenured employees, to reward them for what they've endured and the years of lack of pay and lack of benefits, but to attract really good applicants in the future as well.
We've got LaPorte County Sheriff John Boyd on the show today. Another question I have for you, and it's a question that I think is a little misunderstood, or a little bit, it's a topic that's going to become probably one of the major topics for whoever is elected in November, a new jail. And so we've got a jail here in downtown LaPorte, probably not the best place for a county jail, but it is where it is. It's not far from, obviously, it's connected to the county courthouse, so there's a benefit there lead to the LaPorte County Courthouse, not to the Michigan City one. But you've been on record, and other officers and other people have been on record saying we're going to need a new jail. First, why is that? Why do we need a new jail?
Well, because it's aged so much. While we did renovate it, and it went into service after the renovation in about 2002. It was built in 1978, and you've heard me say before that jails age in dog years. So for every year that it's in service, it ages about 7 years. So it is outdated. The wave of the future is to build a linear type jail where it's almost like the spokes in a wheel, and it would be less manpower intensive. The way it's built now is just isn't conducive. We have a number of structural issues within the facility that we're concerned about, but we should also put it in an area where there's room for growth. Ideal spot would be, say, the Summit Farm in that area, halfway between LaPorte and Michigan City, or perhaps along Ziegler Road where county owns property, where it would be in conjunction with, say, the Work Release Center, the Juvenile Services Center, County Highway Department. Our garage is out there as well. That might be an appropriate place, but an area where there is room for growth, and perhaps where we could have a behavioral health center there as well. That's something where there is funding that's available through the state and the federal government, because unfortunately jails and sheriffs have become the largest provider of mental health care in their individual counties. But I think ideally too, and I'm not a commissioner, and I perhaps need to stay in my lane, but our county complex isn't outdated completely. We still have offices there, and it's very appropriate for that. But perhaps it could be renovated so some of the county offices could be brought back into the county complex, and the county government offices could be contained within the county complex.
Yep. If you had to design a jail, or if you've seen a jail that you've seen recently designed that you thought was well designed, what would you put in a new jail? Like you said, maybe some mental health facilities or something like that. Is there anything else that a new jail should have? Obviously, even law enforcement, jailing, and these kind of things has changed in the last 40 to 50 years since this was designed. For a new jail, what do you think is important to put in there?
Well, I think it's really important to have room in which we could have different programs, whether it be educational programs or treatment programs. Part of our problem is we just don't have the room for these programs within the confines of our jail. And so you need room for some of that instruction that we would like to have. We would like our inmates to come in and then leave as better citizens once they leave. But with that said, it is a little bit difficult because our population is very transient. Our average length of stay there is about 30 days, and it's difficult to get somebody fully immersed in a program if they're here today but gone tomorrow. And that's one of the challenges that jails have. But perhaps judges could sentence people to programs within the jail if we had the room to facilitate those programs and then return them to society as better people than when they arrived.
Sure. All right, we've got Sheriff John Boyd on the show today. Let's get to a question before we go to break here. All right, thanks so much for calling. I appreciate you listening to the show. What's your question for Sheriff John Boyd?
Good afternoon, Sheriff Boyd. First, I just want to say thank you for your service and your leadership for the last 7.5 years, and your staff has been wonderful for LaPorte County.
Thank you.
As far as the lit tax, are you seeing an uptick in candidates? And I've asked this question multiple times at commissioners' meetings, council meetings. I've asked Mayor Dermody, and I'll ask you, what do you see as a plan B if increasing the tax does not attract the candidates? There has to be an alternative without just continually raising our taxes. Thank you.
Thanks for calling, Steve.
You're welcome, Steve. So the first question that you had is, have we seen an uptick? No, because the lit tax has not gone into effect. Therefore, we've not been able to raise the salary or the benefit packages for our current employees or prospective employees. Plan B, what that would be, would also we would include in Plan A, and that is some incentives for higher education, incentives for employees if they're involved in more than just their 8-hour shift. For instance, they're involved in specialties and they have advanced training and certification. We would like to see them being rewarded for providing their expertise, their knowledge to a certain segment in which they're helping the population. That really would be our plan B, but we've got to do something to retain the employees that we have as a priority, and then secondly, attracting good future employees.
All right, we've got John Boyd on the show today. Sheriff Boyd is here. He's just got a couple months left of his administration. Then we'll elect someone new, but it's good to talk to him today. We're going to probably have him here one more time before he's done. But if you have a question, you're welcome to call or text 219-362-0522. You can email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. If you're streaming with us online, just put your comments in the comment area, and I'll ask those as well. We're going to take our first break of the day. We'll be right back here with John Boyd, only on 96.7 The Eagle.
For over 50 years, LaPorte has trusted Cannon's Automotive Service for prompt, efficient, same-day service. And that same Cannon's commitment extends to area businesses who rely on a fleet of one or many to take your goods or service to the customer. Whether it's the truck or trailer that needs maintained or fixed, trust Cannon's Automotive to maximize your productivity with same-day service. Now with 2 Cannon's locations, 710 Tyler Street and 909 Boyd Boulevard.
With Cannon's Automotive, we fix everything.
My name is Stacy Earhart, and I'm one of the owners of Fulton Interior Systems, a construction company here in the great state of Indiana. Every year, some construction companies illegally pay workers cash under the table. That puts companies like mine that provide a good living wage and pay payroll taxes and employee benefits at a major competitive disadvantage. These companies rob our state from over $405 million every single year. Imagine what could be done for Hoosiers with that money. Visit indianacip.com/tax fraud to learn how you can take a stand.
0 down and 0% financing now at Auto Park Ford in LaPorte. Brand new F-150s, Explorers, Edge, Expeditions, Mustangs, Escapes, Broncos, and more. 0 down and as low as 0% financing. Choose from over 100 new Fords in stock. Plus a huge selection of quality pre-owned vehicles. It's not just a dealership, it's an auto park. Auto Park Ford in LaPorte. AutoParkFordLaPorte.com. 22 Escape, 3540 down, 540 a month, 66 months, 0% APR, plus tax tag title to qualified buyers. All makes, all models, all at low auto park pricing at Auto Park Ford in LaPorte. Save gas and money in a low-mileage 2019 Ford Escape from only $279 a month. $279. Come find the exact vehicle you've been looking for today. We have a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles. It's not just a dealership, it's an auto park. Auto Park Ford in LaPorte. AutoParkFordLaPorte.com. 19 Escape 19.9, 500 down, $579 a month, 84 months, 5% APR, plus tax tag title to qualified buyers.
Nothing says spring better than a visit to Small's Garden Center in Stoneyard. Small's has the area's largest selection of plants, trees, shrubs, evergreens, perennials, and it's all 30% off now at Small's. And choose from over 60 varieties of fruit trees, raspberry and blueberry bushes, 30% off. Want someone else to do the work for you? No problem. Simply ask Small's to deliver and plant your purchase. It's all at Small's Garden Center in Stoneyard.
When it's time to make improvements on your outdoor space, think Small's Garden Center in Stoneyard. At Small's, you'll find a huge selection of decorative stones, wash stone, limestone, slag, flagstone, pavers, and boulders. Plus, Small's will load or deliver it for you. And right now at Small's, all topsoil and mulch is on sale. Call or stop by for prices. Shop Small's new selection of outdoor products for outdoor living, patio and garden area, and save on outdoor decor items. Now 30% off at Small's. Small's Garden Center in Stoneyard, US 20 in LaPorte, open Monday through Saturday, 8 until 5, and Sunday, 10 until 4.
Look at all the things I've collected over the years in here, Dave.
Why, Dad?
So you'll have many things to remember me by, and, I'm sure you can use it all someday.
But, Dad, I can't use all these things.
Yeah, but just think, it's all yours someday.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Dad. Is that a bumper I see buried with this stuff?
Oh, hey, yeah, I believe it's your mom's 1976 Pinto. And again, it's going to be yours someday.
Do you have things you don't need or want anymore? Are you tired of seeing things that you thought was a good idea to buy and then turn around and put it away in some corner of your garage? Well, you're in luck. At 96.7 The Eagle, we can help by reading your garage, rummage, estate, or yard sale during Tradio. All you need to do is visit hometownnewsnow.com, click on the Submit tab, and fill out the form, and we'll contact you for the payment. It's that simple. Of course, we do accept debit and credit cards for payment. So listen weekdays at 9:45 for your sale to be read live on 96.7 The Eagle, and check out the listings at hometownnewsnow.com.
Let's look at the forecast at 96.7 The Eagle, brought to you by the Pink Sheep Children's Boutique.
The charming and affordable Pink Sheep Children's Boutique has so many fun themes and styles for boys, girls, and moms. Come see for yourself. The Pink Sheep Children's Boutique, 604 Lincoln Way in downtown LaPorte.
Michiana weather.
Partly cloudy this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 86. Winds out of the west, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Cloudy skies tonight, scattered thunderstorms likely, 68. From the Weather Center at hometownnewsnow.com. Right now, 82.
Thank you for tuning in to Sound Off. You can now text or email your questions directly to the studio. Call or text 362-0522 or email your questions to soundoff@967theeagle.com. This is Sound Off.
Welcome back, friends. Today we've got Sheriff John Boyd in the studio, a local crime-fighting legend here. So if you have a question, the Liquor Vault on-air line is 219-362-0522. You're welcome to call or text me. You can also email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. Let's see. We got a caller. Let's get to that caller. Hey, thanks so much for listening to the show. Sheriff Boyd's here. What's your question for Sheriff Boyd?
Yes, I just wanted to, first of all, comment. I see that the Washington Street down around the sheriff's building has been repaved, and I want to congratulate the street department for doing that. It makes it so much nicer. I also see that there is the bicycle lanes marked on the road, and I think that's good. We just need to let people know that that's part of the bicycle riding too, and people need to be cautious about bicyclists riding around the building and so forth. The motorists need to be cautious about the bicycle, and bicyclists need to be cautious about motorists and pedestrians around there too. I just hope it all works out. I hope these people backing out of their angled parking place look twice before they back up. The other part that I just wanted to comment, and I have heard it talked about already, the lit tax. When it was first announced, they said that that was going to go strictly to the compensation of these workers. And now, unfortunately, at least I hear that it's going to go for all kinds of things, vehicles, maybe the sheriff's jail or something like this. And that wasn't what it originally started out to be. And that does bother me. And I know that Mr. Boyd can talk about that. And rather for me to hang on the line, I will just kind of hang up and go from there. And I hope that this bicycle situation can work out around town, that our community can be bicycle friendly for everything. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Real quick, a little fact for you. The painting there, or the sign for the bicycle there, that's called a sharrow. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
I learned that. It's an urban development term where you put a bike mark in the road to remind people that there are bikers in downtown. So,
perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I learned something today. In regard to the gentleman caller there, as far as the lit tax, our involvement was, while a large part of it is, in fact, to retain our current employees, through compensation, attract good qualified applicants in the future. We also acknowledge that the cost of doing business, all the presentations we went to, and I went to in nearly every one of the townships or the local units of government made presentations, unless I couldn't be at two places at once. I know Chief Deputy Heeg attended one, and I believe it was Long Beach or Michiana Shores, perhaps both. But we also talked about the increase in doing business while our budget hasn't increased, and in fact it's been cut a number of times in the last since I've been involved at the Sheriff's Office. The cost of us doing business has increased. The cost of food for our inmates, the cost of gasoline for our cars, the cost of tires for our police vehicles, the cost of automobiles, the cost of health care for our inmates and psychiatric care, the cost of medicine, the cost of uniforms, everything has gone up. And the lit text would help us to offset those costs without having to go into our general budget. This is specific for emergency services. So that was the pitch that we had made when we had gone around to the individual townships, and we had also said it would also help us to increase our the number of people that we have at the Sheriff's Office and law enforcement, because we're just so short. We are significantly lower than what recommendations are for staffing.
So a question for you then. Do you think the cost of tires and vehicles now will go down now that Mayor Tom Dermody did get Washington Street paved? And do you think the delay was because he lives his life jealous of your athletic ability from when you were in school?
Most probably, but I have to give credit to the mayor, because I appreciate that street got paved, because where I normally park out in front of Washington Street, there was a very large pothole that seemed to find water all the time. And I like to keep my police car clean, and every time someone would drive by that hit that pothole, it would splash up my car, and it was never ending.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was difficult. But I do appreciate it. It made a big difference out on Washington Street. But they certainly didn't do it for us. It was because it needed it.
It needed it. Yeah. Let's get to another caller. Sheriff John Boyd's in the studio today. Thanks so much for listening to the Sound Off Radio Show. What's your question for Sheriff Boyd?
Well, hello, Sheriff. This is your elderly neighbor calling.
How are things in Galena Township?
Hot, but it's going to get better. Beautiful as always. I heard the commissioner's comments on the new law. I know where you stood with that, and I stood with you on that as retired law enforcement. About that incident near Indianapolis, we were fortunate, dumb luck, if you will, that there was a young man there that had the proficiency. Had he not had that proficiency, I'm afraid he would have just added to the statistics, and who knows where that would have gone. Now, Indiana picked up this law, and it's almost identical to Texas. And interestingly enough, every law enforcement agency in the state of Texas lobbied against their law before they put it through. And if you look at what happened with Uvalde and with the Walmart shooting in El Paso and the church shooting in a little town, I think it was called Springland or something to that effect, it's been very tragic, and I am concerned, and I wonder if you are as well with these mass shootings as far as young people acquiring these very dangerous weapons, and where society is today. But before I hang up, I too want to echo your first caller, Steve's sentiments on thank you for your service, your leadership. You truly showed that, and the professionalism is remarkable. And thank you, Sheriff. And with that, I'll let you go and enjoy Galena's weather.
I will. Thank you for calling in. Your concern about, am I concerned about the mass shootings? Absolutely. There's nobody that isn't concerned about the mass shootings that are happening, but it's evidence of the fact that we have significant mental health issues in the United States, and it also is evidence of the fact that we live in a very impulsive society, and people are really prone to act out irrationally when they become frustrated, when they become angry. They don't have the coping skills that they need to deal with life's up and downs and rejections. The discipline, it's in some regard, our society is just eroding, and I wish I had the answers. I wish I had a magic wand to make it go away. I wish we lived in a utopia. As much as I love my job, I would trade it if we lived in a perfect world. Quite frankly, we don't.
It is interesting on hometownnewsnow.com. you'll see a story right now. This is from Michigan City, but a car got sideswiped, and the person that did it, drove away, and the person followed them that got sideswiped and ended up putting 10 or 12 rounds into the car and killing the person. Right?
It's a prime example.
It just seems to, almost a road rage, kind of thing happens, and it does seem to be getting worse in some ways.
It does.
All right, we've got Sheriff John Boyd here on the show. Let's get to another caller. Hey, thanks so much for calling. Thanks for listening to the show. What's your question for Sheriff Boyd?
Oh, hi, Nate and Sheriff Boyd. This is Tommy Kolavic.
Hi, Tommy.
Since you're going to be retiring soon, the LaPorte County Sheriff's Department is going to be a down a man. I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked all your deputies during the primary. If somebody's interested in becoming a LaPorte County Sheriff's deputy, explain what they got to do and tell us what the starting pay is. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. The first thing that someone should do if they're interested in employment at the sheriff's office is they can go to our website, or they can come to our front reception area at the sheriff's office here in LaPorte, and they can ask for an application. They can download an application on our website. There's a drop-down menu, and they can get an application either for our merit division, which would include our patrol, our warrants division, investigative division, in which that's a certified position. Someone would need to go to the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy for a 16-week training, and then come back for 16-week field training at the sheriff's office, or they can go into our correctional field in our jail. And so our starting pay for our patrol deputies is right around $53,000, and our starting pay in our jail, if memory serves me correctly, is about $47,000. I'm sure right now Connie Trojanowski is listening to me on the radio, and she can send me the exact figures, or Tracy Layton can do that as well.
I think it's nice that you think they're listening.
Well, I think they are, because they'll comment after the show today about bits and pieces that they heard. And I'm trying to remember what else Tommy was asking about. They'd have to go through testing requirements for either position within the sheriff's office, but it's an extremely rewarding position. There's not much of a more rewarding career than working in law enforcement.
But it starts by going to the sheriff's office.
It does.
Okay.
Yes.
Wait, we're going to take our final break of the day. We'll be right back here with Sheriff John Boyd. Keep listening to 96.7 The Eagle.
Ben Conowitz here, owner of LaPorte Seamless Gutter. My parents started LaPorte Seamless Gutter in 1982 with one goal in mind, really. Our customers' 100% satisfaction. And we are still providing the same customer service that Tim and Seal Conowitz started all those years ago. Give us a call today for a free estimate at 219-362-9972, or you can visit us on the web, www.lpseamless.com. 219-362-9972.
Parents, as your children prepare to return to school, make sure they're up to date on routine immunizations. Vaccines help keep your child healthy, protect other students, and have even put an end to some diseases. So, before school begins, remember to start smart. Schedule your child's appointment today and make routine immunizations part of your back-to-school checklist. A friendly reminder from the Indiana Department of Health. Learn more at startsmart.health.in.gov.
Hey, have you heard that Castle Ford in Michigan City is now your commercial vehicle center? If you're looking for a truck that works as hard as you do, then visit Castle Ford's Commercial Vehicle Center. From vans and passenger wagons to pickups and cutaways, Castle Ford in Michigan City has a tough and rugged vehicle that can meet your needs. Rough credit or no credit? Ford Credit provides flexible solutions to help get you the commercial truck financing you deserve. Visit CastleFordMichiganCity.com to view inventory and get financed.
Discovering the perfect paint for your home has never been easier with Zinsser Smart Coat from Menards. Plan smart with interactive tools at smartcoat.com. Buy smart in-store or online. And paint smart with an advanced paint and primer in one. A gallon is $26.68 after 11% rebate at Menards. Prices good through July 24th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Garwood U-Pick is currently on hiatus for a couple of weeks while crops ripen. Early August through late October, U-Pick will offer peppers, tomatoes, raspberries, cut flowers, sunflowers, pumpkins, and 25 varieties of apples. Garwood's Farm Market remains open with great deals on all kinds of great produce, including Michigan sweet cherries for just $4.99 per pound. Fresh Lodi apples, $1.75 per pound, or $25 per half bushel. Garwood pickles, $1.49 per pound, or half bushels, 10 for $22 depending on size. Tasty Tennessee tomatoes are just $1.99 per pound. Homegrown blackberries, $5.50 a pint, or 4-pint box for $20. Homegrown green beans, $1.99 per pound, $22 half bushel, or $40 per bushel. Homegrown blueberries, 5-pound box, just $19.95. And of course, Garwood's famous sweet corn, 6 for $3.49. Garwood Farm Market and Bakery, open daily from 9 until 6. Check GarwoodOrchard.com, the Garwood Facebook page, or call Garwood to find out what's available. Garwood's on 50 South past Pinola.
No job is too big or too small. Auto body specialties, we do it all. Quality's #1 in auto body repair. To get fixed up, you know where. Foreign or domestic, we're your local shop. All work guaranteed, but we're hard to top. No job is too big or too small. Auto body specialties, we do it all.
Dave, you guys built a new deck.
Oh yeah, it was easy.
It's on a bit of a slant, but I can live with that.
Yeah, you think? I thought it looked pretty good.
I don't think that railing's up to code either. So, are we just going to stand here, or can we actually go on it?
Oh no, I don't trust it enough to actually go on it.
No offense to Dave, but if you want the job done right, contact Powerhouse Construction in LaPorte. Decks, patios, or kitchen and bath remodels, Powerhouse Construction will ensure your satisfaction. Call 219-380-9981 to book a free estimate. That's 219-380-9981. Powerhouse Construction.
We're waiting to hear from you. Dial or text 362-0522 and let us know what you think. That's 362-0522. Back to Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle.
Welcome back, friends. This is our final segment of Sound Off today. We've got Sheriff John Boyd. And Sheriff, you've got a correction, I think, or you've got information anyway for Tommy.
Yeah, Chief Heeg was, he bailed me out on this one. For Tommy, our jail starting salary is $42,408, and our merit starting salary is $51,749.
All right. And do you only hire at certain times, or can people put in applications whenever, pretty much?
Right now, if they just go to our website, we'll take their application and we will archive it until we announce that we're going to be testing. That way we already have it on file. So just put in the application. But I'll tell you, like I tell everybody else, I'm going to guarantee this. We will not hire you if you do not apply. You have to apply to get hired.
Well, I'm not applying, but there are listeners that probably will. Yeah, exactly. Hey, a question for you. What proactive steps can your successor take to deal with the mental health overload in the jail, and where does that money come from?
Yeah, it's a good question. Some of it comes from grants. Some of it comes from the state of Indiana.
Do you need more of it, though, probably?
Oh, absolutely. Everybody needs more for mental health. I think what the two remaining candidates can do is exactly what they have been doing, and they're really active when it comes to different committees, different groups, different projects where they can be very proactive, but it really is going to need to come from the state level. And I mentioned before that I have been involved with the Indiana Sheriff's Association in lobbying downstate. I've actually personally had conversations with the Lieutenant Governor about incentivizing those that want a career in mental health to come here to Indiana, remain in Indiana, because we've got a critical shortage on medical health experts and those that provide services.
I don't think people realize how short it is. Even just for a regular person to find a therapist or a counselor, it's just really hard right now.
And actually, last night I talked to Dean Mazzoni, who's the CEO at Franciscan Health in Michigan City, and he was talking about how they wish they could be doing more for mental health. But with that said, they're doing an awful lot. Franciscan has been a great partner for our community, but they just don't have enough bed space and enough mental health professionals to help those that have mental health issues. And
but when we talk about school shootings, you talk about all these things, and mental health is such an important part of it.
It would be an investment.
It really is. Yeah,
and an alternative in many cases to incarceration.
Absolutely. All right, let's get to another question here. Hey, thanks so much for waiting on the line. Thanks for calling and listening to the show. What's your question for Sheriff John Boyd? Hello? Nope. All right. Another text for you. Thanks for your service, Sheriff Boyd. If you could, would you run again for sheriff? Oh, is the question. I read that wrong. If you could, would you run for sheriff?
I don't think that I would. I had a conversation with my wife and family several months ago, and my wife had made the comment, if there weren't term limits, I don't know that it would be a good idea for you to run again. Just the stress on the family and being gone all the time. With that said, I knew what I was getting into. This is a choice, not a sentence. I love what I do. It is a passion, and I work at what I think is the best sheriff's office in the state with the best people. I'm really blessed, and our community has been wonderful. But about 5 years ago, the Sheriff's Association, they were talking about potentially lobbying for a constitutional change because sheriffs are term limited by virtue of the Indiana State Constitution, and they wanted to explore a possible constitutional change to make it so a sheriff could serve 3 consecutive terms. We're one of only 2 states in the country that have a 2-term limit on sheriffs. Most others are unlimited. And I was one of the few sheriffs that said, no, I'm against it. I think that term limits are really good. They're very beneficial. Some argue that the term limits are at the choice of the voters when it comes to an election time. But I think it's good. I think it's good to have good, fresh ideas. Sometimes a sheriff can get in an office and they can really have the corner on the market, and it's a popularity contest.
Sure.
But I'm a proponent of term limits, so I think it's good. And with that said, I can't run.
Yeah.
So woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yeah. All right, let's get to another caller. Hey, thanks for listening to the show. You're on the Sound Off Radio Show. What's your question for Sheriff John Boyd?
Good morning.
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah. What about, how do we do about striping the county streets?
Oh, that would be a question for our commissioners and asking them about how and where your streets are. What I would do is probably just contact your commissioner of which streets need to be, if it's all of them, just tell them all of them. But contact them. Sometimes in government, the squeaky wheel, what is that saying? The squeaky wheel gets
the grease.
Yeah. And so just talk to them. Here's a question for you, Sheriff Boyd. I understand your take-home vehicle for cops is good, but some cops are abusing it, using the public vehicle for personal use. Can you explain a little bit what the policy is for police using their vehicles?
Yeah, that is part of their compensation package, and nearly every department now has a take-home vehicle policy. And one of the reasons that we do, and the reason so many agencies do, is because if and when we had pool cars at the sheriff's office, they racked up so many miles that they were buying new cars all the time. It's hard wear and tear on a vehicle to run it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I used to work at an agency where we use cars 7 days a week. 24 hours a day, and it is very difficult. It's very hard on a vehicle. But as short as we are, whether it be because we're short because employees have left or retired, we haven't been able to fill their position, or whether it's short because we have such a big county and we don't have enough manpower, it isn't uncommon for the first responding deputy to be on scene because they were driving their police vehicle off duty, and they respond. When they're in their police vehicle, their radios are on and they're subject to responding to a call for service. I received a really nice email the other day. One of our day shift deputies, Bobby Greer, was in his police vehicle, and he saw a lady that was stopped alongside the road, an older lady, and she had a flat tire. So he stopped because he had the emergency lights and actually got out and changed the tire for her. I'm betting that she's not complaining that he was driving his police car off duty. I would bet that anyone that has a police officer that responds to their need when they're off duty doesn't complain that they're off duty when they're responding. If we see an abuse of the take-home car program, we're going to address it. I haven't seen an abuse of our take-home car program in a number of years. But believe me, if we see an abuse, we do address it.
Yeah, it's also been proven that, again, you get cars, officers that park in their, parking, on their street or whatever, and just seeing the cop car can sometimes take down crime and make people more aware as well.
Right,
So,
you're exactly right.
All right, well, this is our final question of the day. This question was texted in to us. What are the plans for Sheriff Boyd after this term?
Well, I've talked to Dennis Siddell. I'm talking about coming in and doing sound off,
buddy,
on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and
gift
Thursdays.
wrap it for you. Yeah.
Yep. I don't know. I don't have any plans yet. I will be doing something, but I am retiring from the sheriff's office, not retiring from work. But I'd like to have a different challenge. I've been in law enforcement for 34 years, and I think it's time to do something different now. Time has passed me by a little bit, especially when it comes to technology. I'm having a hard time keeping up with it. It's time for new, fresh ideas and for me to do something a little bit different. Something where I don't have to carry a phone 24 hours a day and it doesn't ring at 2:20 in the morning anymore.
Still young enough, though, where you're still going to have to work and find something, though, right?
And I want to work. I do love to work. I just don't know what I'll be working at, but I can be choosy.
Is it going to be in the government, probably?
Probably not.
All right, because I had some texts asking, will you run for another office? And I've talked to this before. You've said this on the air before. I don't think you have any plans for running for another office, right?
Never say never, but as of right now, I have no plans, no desire whatsoever to hold another public office.
All right, final word, John Boyd. What do you want our listeners to know?
I would just like to thank you, the radio station, for your continued support of the Sheriff's Office. You've been great advocates for us, helping to get our message out and helping us to promote what we're doing. I love the public that we work for and that we serve, and I'm looking forward to a great 5.5 months left here.
All right. Well, always an honor to have you. We'll have you on one more time before you're done here. We can trash talk all the people we won in our final segment. So I want to thank you so much for listening. We'll be back on Monday. We've got President Pro Tem of the LaPorte City Council, Tim Frankie, is on the show. Again, be good to yourself. Be good to others this week. Take care of others. Be good to your neighbors.